Yo, what's going on, everybody? Uh, just checking in to see how everybody's doing on Sunday. Um, I want to see if anybody comes in here, and then we'll go over some stuff, just some thoughts. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna experiment in some way here. Um, let's see. Oh shit. Okay. What's up, pretty peaches? Cassie, Sandy Jersey girl, M. Greg, Tracy. Once Upon a Crime in the West. How's it going? So I am I'm gonna do something a little different tonight. I wanted to I'm usually pretty open here, and I thought it would be fun to now when my mom came to visit me, right? My mom came to visit me, and we had a really nice Christmas together. And she surprised me by bringing my guitar that was at her house. And I haven't touched this thing in like, I don't know, 2 years, close to 2 years. It's been, yeah. So I thought it would be fun because I went and I cleaned it and I polished it and I put brand new strings on it, really expensive strings too. But ever since I put these strings on these things, I never I never went backwards. Like these are like the best strings you could get. So what I figured I would do is I would get this thing in tune, and then I'm gonna fuck with it and improvise and play. And I thought I would subject myself to further embarrassment by doing that live here with you guys listening. And so I don't know how long I'm going to do it for, probably just a minute or two, but I just wanted to see how this thing sounded once I put the strings on it and tuned it, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. All right. Okay. I was really worried that that thing was going to be stuck in a like it was in a garage for a long time without a case or anything. And I think it was in there during a hurricane. So I was really, really worried that the strings would have been totally or that the neck would have been totally warped. The strings were fucked, of course, but yeah, so I put new strings on it and yeah, it sounds fine, I think. Um so um I'm really glad you liked it. I figured take a little break from the negativity. Uh but yeah, I am it's been a weird time on this channel, man, and it's and I did that to myself for the most part, of course. I got involved with other channels and I got close to them and I don't uh I don't know. I don't regret it at all. And I've met a lot of cool people, and I like collaborating with other people and joining panels and having them join mine. Um, I don't regret that at all, and I've been really enjoying it for the most part. But I don't know. But right now, yeah, there's a couple of new creators that I've been kind of just just being real friendly with, and that feels real nice, and that's all I really give a shit about right now. I like the idea of getting along with people in this community, and I don't dislike anyone. uh I don't hate anyone. I'm not angry at anyone. I just I just want peace, man. You know, I just want peace. And it's just because just because some of us do something that the other doesn't agree with, it doesn't mean that it affects their personal feelings for you. And I like to think that if somebody did that with me, I'm not. I mean, they've been doing it. I'm shit. You look at the comments on my last live; it's crazy. Uh, and it's pretty funny because hey, I don't blame anyone for feeling the way that they do. Um, right. Well, yeah. See, so I don't have any problem with anyone in the drama community that I know of, but I just yeah, I don't want this channel before it's too late for that to happen, which I don't think it is. I don't want to involve myself in these drama channels. I don't I'm seeing a lot of like headache that comes with it. And for some that headache's a thrill and that's cool. And I don't blame them for it. I'm not even, there's nothing what you like is what you like and that's totally cool. But uh yeah, I just wanted to kind of check it out and I did. And it's definitely not for me. But so I have been there's a creator that she's really good friends with Robbie, and she I was on her panel last night, and her name is Antimone um Antimone Layne. I think I'm saying that right, but she has a really cool channel. She's got this really kind of quirky, nervous energy about her that I just love. And she's really, really honest, and she's very, very forthcoming, and she's very, you know, uh very nothing up her sleeves kind of person. And so it's nice. And she did something really nice, and she talked about her friendship with Robbie, and it was really touching and it was really nice. And then Robbie shared it on his channel, and as a thank you and everything, and it was really kind, it was really nice. So I was in her panel last night, and it was a really, really nice vibe. And we weren't really agreeing on a lot of things. We were talking about healthcare, and I'm look, I'm I I've recently started watching Parks and Recreation, right? And I'm not I was never a fan, but lately I've been watching it, and this dude Ron Swanson, I relate to that guy so much, like as far as his views go and the way that he sees things. It's very, very much up my alley more. So I wasn't in agreement with a lot of the things that they felt like they needed to change and things like that. And everybody was really respectful and really kind. And it even got a little like, I don't want to say it wasn't heated, but it got, um, but it was super cool. And that's the kind of vibe that I want to have with other creators. And it was really fun. And so if you haven't subscribed to an Antimone Layne, um, I think you should, because I think she has a lot of insight. She's kind of new to this, so um, but she seems to really know what she's talking about. She's very well educated. But I think once she starts to get more comfortable and get more experience doing this, then she's going to be just, you know, blowing people away, I think, honestly. So I'm going to try to find a link for her and drop it so that you guys can subscribe, because I think she's pretty good at what she's doing. What you want? What? Let's see here. All right, and here we go. Yeah, so go ahead and subscribe to Antimone Layne, because I think that she's let me see what we got here. Held for review. Always Trisha. I started to watch it, but I remember that I watched a or I listened to a live podcast, not a live podcast, but a podcast of it was a True Crime Garage. Actually, they covered that guy. I remember being like, what the fuck am I listening to? This is fucking crazy. But I haven't finished. I don't. If I finish it, it'll be fresh in my mind and it'll be fun to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I don't remember seeing the part where there were just these internet people that were like totally just trying to hunt down some douchebag that was killing cats and posting it on the web. Um, yeah. So, and that's how it starts. So it's wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. So I'm interested in watching all 3 episodes. I mean, it's only 3 episodes, so I'm gonna end up watching it. I definitely once I watched the first one, I was like, oh, I know who this fucking guy is. And I don't even remember his name, but he was, yeah, it was insane. That story's insane. So what's up, Antimony? How you doing? It is good to see you. Um yeah, that killer, yeah, that guy's a, yeah. I mean, who can get douchier than Ted Bundy? It's this fucking guy. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my screen for my mic here, and because this is a new setup. I'm in my buddy's office now, and he's he's kind enough to let me use his office. Um, So I can do this. The only trouble is I can't go on late at night like I used to. Because this little office is in his bedroom. So yeah, so I have to so I can't be in here at midnight doing this shit. But it's pretty straight. Um yeah. Let's see here. So sorry about the noise, guys. Yeah, so this guy is really, really kind to let me use his little office. You see, I got like a Joker thing back there, pretty cool, hanging. Dude's clothes and shit, but yeah. So so right now I'm really, really, really pissed off. Well, I'm not pissed off because I'm sure law enforcement knows what they're doing, but I'm really, really annoyed with the fact that there has not been a murder charge yet in the Heidi Broussard case. That's really, really getting on my nerves because I really want to know if there was somebody involved. Did they actually have somebody in custody or not? Because these are all just fucking rumors. Yeah, you like that, Antimone? This shirt is like my favorite fucking band shirt ever because it is of a band that, in a fictitious world, is the band that aligns all the planets and brings peace in the universe and makes the entire existence a utopia. But going back to that case, I'm really I'm an admin in a group for this case, and there's a lot of discussion. But the other admins, this group is started by Danielle, who you've seen her on panel with me. Danielle is she is the host of Real Massacre Talk, also on YouTube here, and she's very, very fact driven, and she's very, very matter of fact when it comes to any case. She covers a bunch of them at a time. So she has a team of admins and moderators for her channel who do a lot of research, and I'm in a chat with those people, and they are incredible at digging up information, which I'm not going to share right now because well, really one reason: I don't want law enforcement, I don't want it to hinder their investigation in any way whatsoever. But there's a couple of people, man, that uh that we that we I don't want to say suspect, but we definitely think deserve some deep looking into, for sure. But uh you know yeah, I mean, these people do some digging, man, and the I'm so far I'm not liking this Chris Green guy for anything. uh I don't think most of us do, who've been talking about it in this chat. But yeah, and my mods are also in that, and yeah, everybody just kind of does a lot of digging to look at things, and social media can tell you a lot. So it's yeah. But it's funny because I really wish I could share this stuff, and there's no way I would do it without Danielle here, first of all. But It's just the thing that the ideas are so thin. It's one of those things that, like, if you if you really suspect this, you better think that it can be proven. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So, um, yeah. So, but it's just I really wish law enforcement would give us more information. Because yeah, I'm super super happy. I'm super grateful that uh that Silas and Margot are together with their father, Shane. I'm really excited about that. But it's really sad that Heidi died, and it's fucking awful that Heidi died and the way that she did, and for the reasons that she did, or at least how they appear to us all right now. But what really needs to happen right now is I want justice for Heidi, because so I want to know what the fuck's happening. Um, and it's driving me kind of crazy that law enforcement. I mean, I always love when law enforcement plays really close to the vest, and has like zero press leaks. I fucking love that shit because they they simply, that tells me that they're taking their investigation seriously, that it's even to a, it's probably safe to say that it's almost personal to a lot of them. um and I do feel, reassured that all these different law enforcement agencies are assigned to this case. I mean, you got the Texas Rangers, dude, you got the FBI, you got the locals there, man. I mean, it's everybody's pulling their shit together to get justice for her. I mean, look how fast they didn't get there in time for to save Heidi, but they got Margot home safe. And that is that those everybody, all the men and women in law enforcement that raided that house, got the intel and raided that house, and all that detective work. I mean, it's crazy because it's one of those fucking things, man. Like, I mean, that shit is a Lifetime movie. That shit is a Lifetime movie. I guarantee you they're gonna make a Lifetime movie about this bullshit. I mean, you fucking fake the pregnancy and, you know, like, to steal someone's baby, murder them and steal their baby. You've been planning this shit for at least 9 months. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's some diabolic, fucked up shit. It's beyond diabolic. It's not even, dude, if you took that, all right, look, if you took this situation and it was fictional and you pitched it to like the Weinsteins, at Miramax, they'd probably fucking shit can it. They wouldn't even greenlight it, right? That is because it's not believable. It's not believable. Nobody does that shit in real life. And she looks like Roy Munson. How does that happen? So it doesn't make any sense. That's a Lifetime movie. That's a Lifetime movie. That's what that shit is. Or an Oxygen movie. Fucking Oxygen. Yeah, I guess life is stranger than fiction, Uh it's I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. Um Sorry, I'm looking at chat right now real quick. I mean, yeah, I think she had to have faked the pregnancy. I mean, that's not I don't even think that's even a question anymore. It's the only thing that even remotely makes sense. I mean, maybe she planned on killing the baby. Who knows? And she just didn't do it. And the law enforcement got there in time to save her. Maybe. I mean, so who knows? Until there's like a discovery where we get to see the taped interviews of this woman being fucking interrogated. I want to see that interview. I'm dying to see that. I want to know what kind of shit's going to come out of the mouth of somebody whose mind is capable of that madness. That's what I want to see. I mean, shit. I can't even. So yeah, I don't I don't have it's one of those fucking things where this lady, she's clearly on drugs. And how is she living with this dude for 2 years without paying rent? It could just be everybody's like, oh well, there's something going on there. They got some sort of arrangement. Well, maybe, possibly, sure, likely. It's even likely. But I mean, it could just be that this dude doesn't have the heart to fucking boot her out. He's just not that ambitious. But a lot of people are like, no, man, I'm a realtor, or I know somebody who's a realtor, or that, or not a realtor, but somebody who owns property, and if somebody doesn't pay up, they're out fast. And that makes sense. Anybody who's trying to make money, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna fucking boot somebody right out of there. They're gonna evict them if they're not paying rent, because that's stopping them from getting somebody in there who is gonna pay rent. So it's dumb. Who was a couple 2 years ago? Jack's mom, confirmed by a friend of whose. Yeah, I don't even know if she's gonna come up with an excuse, because I feel like whoever the fuck she worked with, because security footage, from what I understand, security footage had her had Heidi willingly get into a car with Margot, and with well, I'm not sure with Margot, but with Megan. And the security footage says that there's a third person in the car, but no description. So we don't know if it's a male, a female. We don't know anything. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. That has not been Jack's mom. That has not been confirmed yet. That oh yeah, that they were a couple 2 years ago. Okay, yeah, I knew that. That's true. That's true. You're right. But I yeah, nobody knows who the other person in the car was. Um, so there's definitely another party involved. There's definitely another party involved. We just don't have any information yet as to who that third party is. And this is a little scary, you know. But I trust law enforcement. I got a good feeling about these guys collaborating together, all these law enforcement agencies getting together, because I think that that's how you get shit done. I mean, you get somebody in charge and you say, hey, you do what you do best, you do what you do best, and you do what you do best, and bring me back fucking results. That's how I imagine that going down in a nutshell. But I definitely, it makes me feel more comfortable to imagine it that way. That's for sure. Um, where's your theory, Cruz Boston? Let me see what you're talking about. What is your theory? Let me scroll back up. Yeah, we don't know if Megan had a miscarriage or what, man. I don't know, dude. Oh, Cruz, here we go. Plan A was, here we go. Hold on. Plan A was she baited a pregnant stranger with a crib for sale. She wanted to have a baby at the same time as her best friend. When that failed, she went to plan B, taking Heidi's baby. Huh? Where do you get the baited the pregnant stranger? Maybe that's just a detail in the case that I missed, um but I mean, none of that's been confirmed. Just, yeah, you did say that that's just theory. I understand, but yeah, we just don't know. That's what I'm bugged by that, man. we just don't know yet exactly what is going on with this case. But somebody else is involved, and why hasn't Megan been charged with murder yet? Heidi's dead. She's got what appears to be the motive. I mean, that's, the baby's alive, Heidi's dead. We're If you really think about it, we're just kind of assuming based on certain information, um that was the plan, because none of that's actually been confirmed by anyone, that's the motive. And that's what I'm tripping out on, is none of this information is out yet. So I'm really, really okay. So Amy, you're saying Megan had a crib for sale uh on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist back in January 2019. Okay. But that could also mean anything too. See, that's what I'm saying, is there's just too much, we don't nothing can be confirmed. We can just come up with these theories and wonder what the hell is happening, because the police have released nothing. They come out and they give real vague press conferences. They haven't given one in a while, but they're vague. But I'm not mad at them for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever gets justice, because they have to make sure. The biggest thing that we have to remember here, folks, is us getting information on cases like this uh is a distant, at the very least, a distant second to, to making sure that the police gather enough convictable evidence. This is all about due process. So we need to not, rush them or be impatient. Uh, I'm sure that they're doing their due diligence, and I'm sure there's a very, very good reason why they're not leaking any information on this case. Um, I'm sure these gentlemen and women know what they're doing. Uh, so this is not, it's not even negotiable to me as far as that goes. I'll sit here in the dark for as long as it takes to let them do their jobs. I mean, I believe in the right to know. Certain things should be public record, absolutely, but not if it obstructs a criminal investigation, where all you want is justice. All you want is justice uh, for a murdered woman, and a practically widowed man, and motherless children now. So to me, this is it's a no-brainer at all. So so Antimony, are you still in the chat? I was thinking you could come up on panel with me and talk about your case for a minute. Let people know about it. Let people know about your channel. If so, I'll go ahead and drop a link. In fact, if anybody wants to come on panel, they can. That's cool. That would be an interesting thing to do. So yeah, I dropped a link in the chat, Antimony. So if you'd like to join me here, I'd like to give you a chance to talk about your channel a little bit, since you so kindly had me on your panel yesterday. But yeah, let me see. I think once they charge her with murder is when it all will come out. I'm sure it's about premeditation. Well, that's my point, though. That's my point, though, Doodlebug, is why hasn't anybody been charged with murder yet? That's what's worrisome. I'm sure that what they're doing right now is building a case and collecting evidence. Um, but whoever did this, you definitely want to see them never see the light of day again. They blew their privilege for that. So we definitely need definitely need people to be a little more patient with law enforcement right now. Because we want to see that happen. I know I do. And Texas is a capital punishment state, man. So whoever helped her, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if they had anything on her as being the one to have done it, they probably would have charged her by now. What I'm really hoping is not the case. I don't want to see someone who is just as guilty as the other person roll over and take a plea deal so that they can testify against the other person. I don't want to see that happen. That happened with the Patrick Swayze case, and everybody got pissed off, and rightfully so. So I definitely don't want to see that happen here. Like, yeah, I mean, we have a couple of theories. And what's funny is one of them everyone's gonna hate. They're just not gonna want to hear it. And but yeah, it is a shot in the dark, I will say that. But it's just there's something not right about this person, and there's a lot of things that don't add up and make this person uh it's very, very easy to see this person as being untruthful uh, on many different things. So, okay. Looks like we got Antimone Layne in the chat. What's up, Antimone
Hey,
Layne?
what's up? Hey, everybody.
Oh, shit. I got an echo. Give me 1 second.
It might be me.
Boom. Taken care of. Beautiful.
You got it?
I'm good.
Okay, because
Yeah.
sometimes I've had the same problem, so I wasn't sure if it was me.
Well, I didn't think it through. I just went and brought you on panel without
It
plugging in
happens.
earbuds. So tell everybody a little bit about the case that you're following.
The case that I'm following and I'm pretty preoccupied with is the Bianca Devins murder, which occurred in July. So it's about, God, it's still only like, what, 5 months old? Yeah. The trial looks like it's going to be happening pretty quickly in February, but it was a young e-girl who was 17, who lived in upstate New York. And long story short, she went to a concert in Queens in Manhattan with a 21-year-old named Brandon Clark. And they drove home. There was a situation, and she ended up dead. Her throat was pretty much sliced all the way through. She was not decapitated. That was one of the rumors. But immediately after that, he posted the image of her corpse on Discord. She had a Discord server, and also on his Instagram. And that's one of the reasons I think it became a high-profile case, and it got so much media coverage. But I have been corresponding with him There's a lot of backstory. I mean, I gave you the story in a nutshell, but there's a lot about her, there's a lot about him, and a lot about the online communities that they were involved with that kind of contributed to this event. So it's layers thick, so to speak.
Well, I mean,
it's really
pretty
fascinating.
safe. Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that a lot of cases are like that, but you're getting that directly from the accused.
Correct.
So you're currently in correspondence with this person.
Yes, actually, I talked to him today. We had a great talk.
What's his name?
Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark. So you're in direct contact with Brandon Clark, and you talked to him today.
I did.
Okay.
We talk a lot about his case. He feels his attorney is slacking off. I agree. He's seen him twice in the past 3 months. It's a public defender, so he doesn't seem too driven to push himself, I guess. Brandon is definitely guilty. He's dealing with a lot of remorse, honestly. Some people, go on.
No, please. I'm gonna make a point, but I want you to finish, actually.
Okay. Jack's mom, no, he is not claiming innocence, but he pled not guilty because it bought him time to maybe get a chance to get something less than 25 years to life, which is what he's looking at right now.
So he's looking at 25 to life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't even gone to court yet, right?
He's had a couple hearings. Yes,
a couple of hearings, but he hasn't been. It's not a trial.
Yep. It will be a trial. He has not been tried yet.
Okay, so he's pleading not guilty.
Correct.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So right. So I imagine that there's only so much you can actually divulge here.
Yes. Correct. Yes.
Okay. So
I will say,
but don't be afraid to tell me I can't talk about that. If I ask you a question, I might ask you a fucking outlandish question. Just be like, I can't. I'm not.
No, I will. Yeah, but please ask.
Yeah, but I won't. Right. I won't like get annoyed with the fact that you have to respect.
No, I have to be very. Yeah, I have to kind of be. I mean, I'll be honest. He told me all the details of what happened, but
do you feel that he should get 25 to life?
I don't think life. I think life is kind of ridiculous. Given his age, for one thing, given that he was definitely.
How old is he?
He's 22. He just turned 22 in October.
Okay.
He's a young guy. He grew up in a very violent home. His father was in prison multiple times. He grew up in a very unstable home, grew up in the foster system also, and it's not a well-run system in upstate New York. There's if you look at, there's a lot of news reports and a lot of cases that have gained a lot of notoriety in the media because Oneida County, I always say it wrong. It used to be like a factory area. A lot of people lost their jobs. It's not, the economy is not really doing too well. And there's a lot of people who are struggling. And I think a lot of people kind of fell through the cracks over the past decade, especially. And so they don't really have their shit together up there. I will say though that the police force is quite stellar. They do an amazing job. But there are families who are really hurting and really, kind of struggling. And both Brandon and Bianca grew up in very dysfunctional families. There's criminal history on both sides, which is interesting also. So I'm rambling a little bit, so rein me in if you need to.
No, I'm fascinated with what you're talking about. So yeah, but here's the thing where I get hung up, where I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
people who I get hung up with. I get why you feel, because of his age, his lack of experiences in life, that sort of thing. It makes you empathize with him, and you don't think that a life sentence is justice for someone like this who you've been talking with, right? But isn't it fair to say the severity of the crime, if you look at the gruesome details of the crime itself, don't you think that that is probably someone who has proven to not be trusted in society?
Oh, I definitely believe he needs to serve time. I can't see that he's going to get less than 25 years. And I think that, and he wants to serve time. I will say that as well. He knows that he has, you know, he has done something for which he must, he must pay for that.
But I mean, being sorry, I see, that's the thing, is I think a lot of people have that hang up, because I mean,
Yeah, right on.
isn't it
I
possible that
understand.
you feel more empathy for him because you're actually in correspondence with him and
No,
able to kind of talk to him, and you see him kind of in a personal way? I'm not
no.
saying.
I'll explain why. Because I think that's a really good point. I'll explain why. My interest in the case and in his situation, I was drawn in way before I only started talking to him at the end of October. One of the things that I talk about a lot on my channel is mental health issues, and the fact that, and this is something, now I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for a very long time. And I've talked to it's really kind of cool because I can talk to my therapist about these cases, and she can give me professional opinions and a professional perspective. And she said something to me that really hit home, and I never forgot it. And like a couple months ago, and she was like, a lot of the people who are incarcerated right now are not career criminals. They're people with untreated mental illnesses or undiagnosed mental illnesses or undertreated. And the system just is not doing its job. And I feel that both of these individuals, both Brandon and Bianca, Brandon was not able to even get help because he didn't even really have parents.
So what you're saying is the system failed him when he needed psychiatric help, and so because the system failed him, that's more to blame than him going and nearly severing this woman's head.
That's part of it, but it's not that black
taking
and white.
pictures and posting it on social media. I mean,
there's also another statistic I like to share, is that children who grow up in violent homes are most likely, the stats are pretty high, that they will become offenders. And so I kind of feel that this, in a way, this guy was, I hate to use the word doomed, but I kind of feel like he was doomed from the beginning.
well, I mean, I don't know, but when somebody has the tendencies to hurt others or themselves, they tend to keep them locked up when they're aware of it,
He had no prior record, so I'll just also add that he had never.
Fair enough, but I mean, was he under any psychiatric care prior to the incident, to the crime?
No, because I don't think he could even think about affording it.
Okay.
And he didn't. His life was just, he had never had a home. He was either staying on someone's couch, or at one point he was actually living by himself at age 15, and he had a friend for the family bring him food. And then when his father found the food that he had to hide from him, he threw a shit fit and broke all kinds of shit in the house. It was just, he couldn't gain traction. There was no way for him he had nowhere to land. And I'm not making an excuse, first of all, for what he did. I'm not condoning what he did. And it's not that I don't have empathy for the family of the victim. I feel
Oh, that's
I'm trying to look
clear.
at it.
Nobody, yeah. I mean, if
Okay,
anybody
because
thinks
I want
that,
to
then
say that it's important.
sure. No, I'm not doubting any of that at all. I'm just I'm just one of those people that I'm fascinated by the fact that you're in contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm of the opinion, personally, I'm of the opinion that this is someone who should not be he cannot be a productive member of society. People are always going to be afraid of him. I mean,
He has
this
to
is
do time. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but I mean, this, just doing time though. I get just doing time if you just happen to be some kid on the street with a gun and somebody pulled out a toy and then you shot him, and murdered him and they're never coming back. And I totally get that, and that's horrible. But because that's also a young man, should they spend the rest of their life in prison? No, I don't think that they should. But that crime is a very, very
It's
different
very
one
personal. It's a
than
very personal crime. It's
than the
very intimate.
rage that took place. Right. So
I gotcha. No, I understand.
I don't feel comfortable with the person who is capable of something like that walking around the rest of
Right
them.
on. I understand. Right on.
That's just me. But I don't doubt that he's
That's
sorry
very
about
valid.
it.
Of course. Of course.
I don't doubt that he's sorry about it.
You know what I'd like
Um,
to see, but it's never going to happen. In the world that I would like to live in, he would be in a psychiatric facility. And the thing about prison that is
I
just,
would be cool with that too.
I'm
You
just,
know what I'm saying? I'm
I
not out. I don't wish anything awful on the person. I'm not one of those people. Oh, he should burn in hell. Blah, blah. That's not even close to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he cannot be trusted in society. So if they all the more
I understand.
all the more power to be able to lock him up in a psychiatric facility and get to try to understand him so that we can help prevent this behavior in the future.
Exactly. Yes, I agree with that completely. Yeah.
But I don't think that I think personally, my opinion is that he's given up his right to function amongst other human beings.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And that's kind of the tragedy of it,
Sure, it is a tragedy, but he did do it to himself. I mean, there's a point when I would imagine so. I've never killed anyone myself, but I would imagine that there is a point to once you realize that they're dead, that you kind of go, holy shit, I just fucking killed somebody.
Go on.
But going beyond that to nearly severing her head and then posting pictures of it and taking pictures and posting them on social media, that takes a lot of premeditated rage. And you're aware that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you're not aware that this is happening as it's happening. Now, if somebody blacks out because of something else, I don't know. I have heard of that happening.
He says and I do believe him. I've gotten some backlash on that, and that's okay.
But whether he blacks out or not,
he did black out. He says he does not remember the murder. And I also want to add, just to give a little more information here that I've already shared. His plan that night was to kill himself. He had a plan, he had a method, he had a time, and the rage that he was feeling toward himself in basically what happened. I'm not trying to simplify things, but I'm trying to sort of simplify it just to try to explain it, is that it went outward and instead of inward is what happened.
I understand that.
It's not like he just he had a weapon and that he had violent feelings just toward her, and they had an argument and then he killed her. He was planning for 3 days or a week ahead of time to kill himself that night, not her. And I just want to answer really quick. Jack's mom asked, were they dating? Yes, they were. They were.
So, wait, say that again. Who was dating?
Brandon and Bianca were dating.
They were dating. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, here's my
Sorry.
thing. No, you're good. I appreciate you. You have a lot of information on this, and I'm fascinated by all of it. But what I'm tripping out on also is
Yeah.
this dude. He, whether you black out or not,
He's still responsible.
right? You're right. Whether you black out or not,
Absolutely.
I'm not going to feel any safer that
absolutely. You're absolutely.
Because I'm just going to be like, well, what if this dude blacks out and kills me? You
absolutely.
I don't.
Yeah. Right on. No. Yeah, I know.
So,
not disputing that.
So yeah, Jack's mom. Yeah, they were dating. So. All right.
Thank you, Amy Soros. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much.
Mods, keep dropping the link.
You rock. Thank you, both of you. Thank you.
So I'm thinking like, all right. So there's also Bianca herself. What is it that what did you gather as far as her? What type of person she was? What's your assessment for the most part?
She was very, 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 very challenged. She was she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. BPD is first of all,
how common is that? I've always wondered. Do you know how common
it's very difficult to diagnose. I read in a medical journal article recently that there are approximately 255 symptoms that can present in BPD. So imagine trying to narrow all that down. The diagnosis it's very, very, very difficult to make. And her mother has asserted to me privately and publicly that Bianca was inpatient in multiple facilities, a lot of them over the year or a little like a year and a half before her death, and they tried so hard to get her to settle down, more or less. But she was using drugs. She was running away. At one point, she was on house arrest because she was running away with her with a guy who is a couple years older than her. And she was online extensively. Her internet footprint is pretty impressive for someone who was her age. She was online and she was interacting on.
Impressive how? She was all over the place, or
she was all over the place. And the thing is, she started. She had a lot of Tumblr blogs. One in which she and a couple of underage friends of hers were sending gore images to other minors. She was sending CP and making some cash off of it.
What CP?
I don't know if I want to say it because I don't want you to get any kind of issue from YouTube. Can someone say what it is in the chat? Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, are they nude pics or?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Underage.
Oh. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
Of herself.
Yeah. Gross. Okay.
And she was on. Well, let me just say, she was also on R9K. She was on R9K, so she was interacting with some very dangerous folks.
Okay, that's different. Yeah, because teenagers, whether you like it or not, I've raised two of them, and teenagers. That's what they do. If this
is like take that to a whole other level. This girl was I mean, her mother could not keep track of all of the messed up shit she was. I mean, she was doing illegal shit as a minor,
right?
Online.
Okay, so
I mean,
she was doing real bad
she was selling
minor
CP.
shit. Right. So she not just pictures of her, but actual children.
No, of herself,
Okay.
which qualify. I mean, as a 14-year-old,
Okay, as a
15,
14, you're right. But
and
I
making
mean,
money.
sure. I mean, I'm sure it happens a lot. I'm not justifying it. I think it's awful. But at the end of the day, yeah, she's a child who's doing this, and it's extremely dangerous. And
Yes.
even though she's doing it herself, she's still a victim of something very
Oh,
awful.
absolutely. Yes. Yes, that's again, yes.
So
I feel they were, I mean, in a way, I feel they were both victims in very different ways. And as somebody put it, I don't remember who it is. Someone said this, I think in my chat at one point, and they said there are no winners in this situation. And that's it's so true. You know, this event caused major ripples of suffering throughout the family, friends, and of course those of us who didn't even know them personally. It's quite something.
yeah, I mean that sounds I mean I mean, look at Wicked Witch's statement here. I found dick
Yeah.
pics on my teen girl's phone. I honestly I instantly turned into my mother in a demon form.
Oh God.
Thank God she didn't send any back, but I went to the parents. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to do that. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. I my son, you know, as a senior in high school, he had a girlfriend who was also a senior in high school. And, you know, chances are, I mean, realistically, they're going to be sexually active, you know?
Oh, sure.
You know, and I'm not,
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily condone it, but it's one of those things you're not going to stop it, you know?
Absolutely. No, I'm on that with you. Yep.
Yeah. You try to just educate them as much as you can so they don't end up giving you grandkids or catching the disease, you know?
Correct.
So, so my son, I get a call from an administrator.
Oh, shit.
And apparently his girlfriend's mom came to them, said that they found a video that the two of them shot in her phone. And I was like, you know, a part of me is just like,
right.
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, for the most part, it's just embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, dude, I want to thump him in the skull for him. You know what I mean? And let him know, like, hey, dude, you can't do that shit. You know, you guys are underage. If that shit gets out, you know, like,
I'm curious, how old were they both when they did that?
Oh, he was already 18, and she was 17.
Okay.
But this is Georgia, where the law of consent in Georgia is 16, from what I understand.
Yep.
But regardless, nobody seemed interested in the fact that they were in a relationship. I was like, they're both in high school together. I mean, you know,
I know
he's a year behind. So you know what, he can't date.
No,
you know,
that's a whole other issue that I have issues with, is this puritanical, when I was, maybe I won't talk about myself. But I mean, I will. When I was 17, I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm not saying it was okay. I was involved with a 37-year-old guy, and my parents didn't blink an eye.
See, that doesn't happen to guys, dude. Not nearly as often. Like, dude, man, when I was 17,
and that was in the 80s. I mean, that it was different.
Yeah, I wanted to be with like a 30-something-year-old woman so bad.
See, yeah, and I honestly feel, I really do. I really think that when you're starting to narrow it down with, like, the later teen ages, I mean, really, like, we got to worry about the laws. Like, come on, like, that's just, it's wrong. To me, that is just ridiculous.
Well,
young, when we're talking about 13, 14, 15, I mean, that's a little different.
Yeah, so we talked about this last night a little bit. I don't see anything as far as the two of them being a couple. I don't really see that
Yeah,
be as big of a deal. I
right.
mean, at
I'm
the
in the
same
same
time,
ballpark
like if
there.
my son was 21 and he was dating a 17-year-old, I'd be like, son, really? Come on. But it's if they were really serious and together for a long time and he
Right,
treated her good and she treated
right,
him good, I wouldn't see a problem.
right. I
You
mean,
know
the
what I'm
moral
saying?
is that there's a moral issue is, to me, I think that's the problem
Right.
in
You
that
know,
situation.
but yeah, I mean, so everything I hear about this girl, I think that she's just a victim. Um,
Well, but
he-
let me add a little bit here. Uh, there are many screenshots, and all you got to do is Google Bianca Devins and screenshots, and you'll find a lot of things. They are not doctored. They're genuine. Where
I mean, would I want to see these? Why would I want to see those?
she was really fucking with guys' heads. Sorry, I used the F word.
Oh, you're talking about okay.
She would date a couple guys on the side, and then she would date some in real life, and she would make them feel like they were it, and then they would find out that she was basically messing around and really didn't give a shit about them in the slightest, and then would basically dump them all and be like, ha ha ha, fuck you guys, and move on to the next group. So she was incredibly manipulative and messed with a lot of guys' heads.
See, but that's the thing, though, is I don't fault teenage girls for being like that. I think a lot of them
Why?
do because they're teenagers. They're fucking kids. I'm
Uh,
saying,
I don't.
I'm not saying it's good behavior. I'm not condoning the behavior. What I'm
But it
saying is
shouldn't be the norm.
it doesn't necessarily make her out to be. It doesn't necessarily mean she's going to grow up and she's going to treat people the same way when she grows up.
But she was borderline. And that's very different from, say, a normal teenager who is not diagnosed with such a serious mental illness.
But
Borderline. I mean, look it up. It's a very, very severe mental illness.
it sounds like it.
Like
Sure.
I mean, they're sociopathic.
So
I'm not kidding. Like,
okay, sure, but
clinically.
she should have been institutionalized as well.
She was inpatient for many months, and at one point she was institutionalized for 3 months, and her mom had her on house arrest. And so the question is, what, okay, personally, I think her mother should have been, monitoring things a little bit more, and I do know that there were drugs in the household.
Right.
So, I wasn't there. I don't know, but I do, from also what I've heard from people who, and been told by people who knew her, that parental involvement, yes, Debbie, was lacking.
I'm getting some slack. Hey, Amy, you should get on this panel. I would love to talk to Amy
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
But so I'm getting some slack here, I think, because LB asked a valid question. At what age do teenagers take responsibility? I mean,
Great
it's
question.
true. It depends on certain things. You know what I'm saying? But if she's not getting the guidance that she's supposed to get, and she's a minor, then
I really do feel that was the situation.
Right. I think that's still on the parents.
I agree. Look, her father was in prison, so her father was not in her life either. He lived in Florida, but he was a violent person, and he was in prison.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, and I wonder if that shit's hereditary too. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just is it a DNA thing, or is it being passed down by example?
I think it's both. I think
it's both. I think there's truth to both of them. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think the latter mostly, but
likewise, so do I.
Well, because because somebody's stubborn, It just depends on what direction they choose to be stubborn with, the things that they choose to be stubborn with. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody's kind of manipulative, they could just be manipulative in sports, you know, and then the rest of they have some sort of moral compass that you know, where they're not so manipulative. And then people just choose to use their manipulation skills for awful shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do think that genetics has something to do with it, but I think that uh the shape, the form that those genetics kind of take in someone's personality, the direction they go, is a result of experience, I think.
Yes.
An example.
Yes, correct. I agree with that.
But that's just me.
I had another case. I mean, this is really amazing. The one I covered it about a month ago. Right near where I live, a young woman who was 27, her parents had been trying to treat her for severe mental illness. I don't know what she was diagnosed with, but she killed her parents and then killed herself. It's a murder-suicide. And they tried to get help for her, and I mean, whoa. You know,
yeah,
that's pretty
this
heavy.
sounds like a really interesting case. Like, I mean, we've all seen the what do you call it? The Mommy Dead and Dearest.
Mommy Dearest, yeah, of course.
Not Mommy Dearest, Mommy Dead and Dearest.
What's that?
The HBO documentary about
Okay.
Man, I forget that girl's name. Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose. Oh yeah, sure.
So
sure.
Gypsy Rose was
Sure.
a victim of Munchausen by proxy.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And like it's like serious, like that shit's for real. It's totally
messed
happened.
up. It's really messed up. Yep.
And then what she ended up doing was she ended up going online and getting this relationship with this kid who had like Asperger's or whatever, right? And he had serious emotional and mental impairments. And she ended up basically manipulating him into murdering her mother.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
So that she could take off. And then she tried to lie to the cops, and she was very, very conniving.
Yep.
But she was a victim, you know?
Absolutely.
So she ends up, I mean, the mother made her sit in a wheelchair. She could walk. She had to appear like she was, it's crazy. You got to watch that. If you have access to HBO or even like one of the bootleg fucking websites, you know, you just type in Mommy Dead and Dearest, and it's a very popular documentary.
Yeah, I've always been interested in that case.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard, yes, Jenny Anderson. So what ends up happening is this kid, he ends up getting life, man. I can't remember what state it was in, though. I think California, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't remember. But she and then she got something like, I don't know, 25 years or something like that. I can't remember, but it was a light sentence because she didn't actually physically do the crime.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She didn't actually physically do anything. She hid in the bathroom in a fetal position and covered her ears while he did it. But they left together, and then they had a video camera, and they video cammed themselves in the hotel room, talking dirty to each other and shit, and like being like really happy about what just happened.
Wow, that's intense.
And they even posted on social media, on Facebook.
I was going to ask.
The bitch is dead now, or something like that. Now we're free. The bitch is dead, or something like that.
Oh, wow. That's crazy shit.
So the thing is, though, this girl, like, is she a victim or is she an awful person? And the thing is I'm leaning towards her being a victim, because the reason being is, yes, she was. Everybody's like, yeah, but you see how manipulative she was. Well, look at the fact that she suffered from Munchausen by proxy. She was a victim of Munchausen by proxy. What happened with that was the fact that she was constantly a subject to her mother's manipulation. She was aware that her mother was being manipulative. She was telling her to lie. She was saying, when we get to the doctors, you say this, blah, blah, blah. That this was drilled into her head her entire life on how she got a live-in, doctorate at manipulation. Via experience.
Well, I kind
Not
of
not
feel like
just example, but experience.
that's sort of what happened to Brandon because his father was extremely violent and emotionally abusive and also an addict. Um, and I feel that you learn from mom and dad. And I also know that on his mother's side of the family, that his maternal grandfather, whom he actually revered, was very violent, was an alcoholic, and I'm very interested in genograms because somebody in your chat said something about the cycle of abuse, and the cycle of abuse um, goes through generations. It doesn't just go through one or two. If you can track it back through a genogram, it is unbelievable. I mean, it goes back generations. And we're talking about, is it in our genes? I think that we can learn behavior can get, I think, passed down to our genes. It's not just emotionally
Well,
picked
I
up.
agree. See, I
You
am
know,
I am of the belief also that we, regardless, we're aware of our behavior. We are aware of our behavior. We get to a certain age, and I agree. I think that once you hit 15, 16, 17, you're aware of your
mm-hmm,
behavior.
mm-hmm.
You've got that little thing inside your gut asking you if you should be doing something like that.
Yeah, yep.
You do at that age. I know I did. I had that
Mm-hmm.
at 6. You
Yo,
know what
I
I'm
was gonna say I had it earlier too. Yeah, yeah.
at least at 6. So I'm not sitting here and saying that that they're, just because they're victims, they're not responsible for their actions.
Right.
I mean, I think it gets to a point where you have a choice of how much of a victim you choose to be. How much do you allow your victimization to affect you and how you live your life and what decisions you make? So,
I honestly, I want to just say this, especially when it involves mental illness. Some people do not have that level of capability to be that self-aware,
I
and
I don't think that the capability is there right off the bat, but I think it's there to a certain degree. It's just at a weak point. So it takes taking steps forward, in my opinion. In theory, I believe it takes steps
oh yeah,
forward in order to exercise this ability, in order for it to become stronger. I'm not saying overnight. You can't just go to the gym and lift up 500 pounds. You got to lift a
exactly.
little bit more and more and more, but you have to have the desire to do that.
But you know what you also need? You need support. And some people need, they may need inpatient help. They may need professional help, but they can't
I
do it
think
by
I
themselves.
Sure, I think cases vary as far as severity goes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but someone like myself, I'm proving to myself that I can do it.
Well, that's
So,
awesome, but
uh,
you're lucky. If that's true, then you're a lucky
well,
person.
well, sure. I'm fortunate in the sense that those are the only 2 clinical ailments that I struggle with,
Hmm.
but which are depression and anxiety. But I don't uh I chose at some point basically not to become aware of more wary of when I use it as an excuse for anything,
Hmm.
and then just try to minimize that, make a conscious effort to try to minimize that as much as possible. So I try real hard not to use it as an excuse, and as I do that, um, methods to managing it come more naturally.
Can I ask you 2 questions? I'm really curious.
Sure.
One is, did you have a strong support system growing up?
No.
What did you have at least like one parent, or I'm sorry, this may be getting a little too personal, so flag me if you need to. One parent or an authority figure who was supportive of
I
you?
had I had a lot of authority figures throughout my life, way more than anybody should.
But that were positive?
Some were positive, some were negative, sure.
And do you have a support system now?
Yes.
Those are very important things, and I think that
Sure,
those are
but I've
reasons why
also
you've been
managed
able to
without
pull your
them.
but those are reasons why you're able to pull yourself up on your own like that. That's awesome.
I
Um,
but that's the thing is I think that it's something to be grateful for, but it's not something to give all of my gratitude to, in the sense that it's I couldn't do it without it. Yeah, it's absolutely helpful, but what the best way logically for me to look at that situation is, yes, to be grateful for having a support system, but showing my support system gratitude with my actions by being as independent and as accountable as I can be. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah.
So it's a very, very give kind of thing. I have a support system, but my support system is happy to have me and support me, because I'm constantly showing them respect for myself and a want to be better. So they're happy to support me. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so I do believe that it just takes some people. It's like when I've been I've been a manager for restaurants and bars for a while, for years.
I could see that. I could totally
Not
see you doing that.
not anymore, because I hated it.
Oh my god, I hate the
But
restaurant industry.
the thing is you know, I was never I don't like this person, I'm gonna fire them kind of guy. I just always looked at every crew member as, some of them need more management than others. They just require more management. So in theory, I do believe that people can, and within reason, of course, depending on the severity of what they suffer from or struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very careful about that. I choose to use, that's a conscious thing, that I use the word struggle and not suffer when I talk about my depression or anxiety. Suffering from it, it's winning, it's beating me. But if I'm
I get
struggling
you.
with it,
I
it's just a
understand.
reality of how it is. I'm always struggling with it.
I
Um,
understand.
you know, I'm always trying to do creative, nice, fun, mind occupying things to, keep it from getting the better of me. And it's becoming pretty easy. But yeah, I do believe that everyone is actually capable of it. The argument is whether they're strong enough, but you have to build that strength if you really want to. At the end of the day, I still call every individual ultimately responsible for their care. Now, there are ways to get professional help. I mean, there are ways to do it.
Not
But I
for
do,
everyone because of money.
yeah, true. But it's like it was funny when I got really low. I've talked about this before. They put me in this place, and it was government funded, right? And
Mm,
I was in there for exactly 1 week. Um, I was in there for exactly 1 week, and I had just gotten physically stopped by the police, um, to not hurt myself, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what they
Gotcha.
did was they stuck me in this place, but at no point, this was their solution. At no point was did I really get any counseling?
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Right? It was
I'm
really
not
weird.
surprised. Good for you
Uh,
for signing yourself out.
Well, I mean, they by law I had to stay there 7 days, and they and
7 days. Wow.
by law they had to release me in 7 days. They couldn't
Yes.
keep me.
Correct.
They didn't have the funding for it. They had to keep people coming in and out.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
I know how it is. Yes. It's
Right.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So during that 7 days is when I was like, fuck, I'm just going to keep hitting the same wall. I've seen people, I'm sitting here complaining that I'm not getting any counseling, but do I need it? Do I really need it? What's a counselor going to do? A counselor's going to sit there and tell me to start taking more responsibility for myself. start making an effort to do this. So
Mm,
do I really need somebody to tell me what those things are, or am I intelligent enough and have the balls enough to become self-aware and find out where I need work,
that's
and
pretty
and
awesome. Good for
and,
you.
and
Rock
focus
on.
on where I need to work.
That's
So I
great.
so I started doing that.
That's really
Um,
awesome.
but I'm nobody special.
But I'm also going to
Anybody
say,
can do it.
no, I
If my
disagree.
point is,
Not
if I
anybody
can
can.
do it, anybody
Not,
can do that.
no, I disagree. Not anybody can, and that's unfortunate.
I think if you have a will to live and you want to be,
But not
uh,
everybody does.
well, I mean, yeah, I can't speak for those people. Um, but I don't, you know, the thing is and I think people who kill themselves too, man, that's, I don't, I empathize them to a certain degree because they're obviously in pain and that's awful. But what they end up doing is a really, really shitty thing. And they can't help it. I hold people who commit suicide absolutely accountable for their actions. I mean, they committed murder. They killed somebody that was important to me,
Mm,
whether it's themselves or not. You
I
know,
right on. I understand.
they killed somebody that was important to me. They took them away from me.
Mm,
Um, when
mm,
you live, when you are a resident of this earth, you're not necessarily responsible for anyone else necessarily. But
right,
you,
right.
you have, you do have, it's not a not shitty thing to do if you hurt yourself
I know. I
and
know.
you have people around you who care about you,
Right.
because a lot of people, I see pain as an energy. I,
That's nice.
I see
Hmm.
pain as an energy.
That's
So
very cool.
the way I see it,
Oh, that's great.
energy doesn't die. It's
That's
never
great.
actually born. It just doesn't die. Einstein proved this.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. Right on.
um so when you kill yourself with the intention of killing that pain, you're not killing it. What happens is that
Mm,
pain taking another form and hindering your loved ones. So now you've basically passed your pain on to all your loved ones, and they have to live with the pain, with the fact that you killed yourself and you're no
mm.
longer with us.
That's fantastic. Will, I'm not fucking kidding you. That is really, really amazing.
So
That's like giving me the chills. That's fantastic.
you
So
have a
true.
you have a responsibility to people to not be that person. Um, you have a responsibility to dig deep and figure out what the fuck's wrong with you and get whatever help you need and do what you got to do. Just don't take no for an answer. Get it done.
Mm,
That's truly my belief. But I agree with you in the sense that yes, there needs to be more healthcare. It could definitely help the situation, but you can never help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves.
absolutely. You can't. Right, absolutely. Yep. Nope. You can't. Nope.
But
Wow. This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been an awesome conversation.
thank you for having me or being on. I really, really appreciate it.
This has been
Yeah.
amazing.
Um,
You have amazing, really, really great insights. It's just really, it's refreshing to talk in this in this kind of in this way. It's just, and I'm reading the chat, and I feel like everybody is really taking in
yeah, I'm
what we're
really
talking about.
shocked.
It's really awesome.
I'm really shocked that I don't have a troll in here. That's pretty amazing.
Good.
But I had no. This was a fantastic conversation. I'm really happy. Yeah. Mods, keep dropping links for
Thank you again. Thank you again.
Antimony's channel. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this case goes.
Yes.
So obviously, guys, there's not a whole lot she could talk about because I mean, if you're in contact with this person, it's safe to say that you're involved in the case. So
Yeah. It's yeah. Exactly. It's
wow.
pretty weird. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, I mean, I don't think, if you're interested in this case and which I find to be a fascinating case, you
Mhm.
should really log on to it because you're going to get nothing but facts out of her.
Thank you. Thank you.
and,
Thank you.
and a little bit of speculation as far as behavior goes, but that's what
Sure.
we want to do. We want to speculate on behavior.
Sure.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
uh, some people, I said it in your chat. Some people might take what you're saying as defending the person who,
Oh yeah, I
you
know. I'm
uh,
getting used to it.
sure,
But and
right.
I'm
But
I'm
I
ready.
think what
I
you're
feel like I
doing
can
is with an
explain it.
open mind takes guts, man. I mean, I'm not
Thank you.
faulting you. I have my opinions of it, but
That's awesome.
but I think that you're more than entitled to your own opinions, and it's actually very, very valuable insight in this
Thank you.
case. If you actually are interested in this case as much as you are,
Hmm.
Antim. So yeah, I definitely recommend subscribing to her channel and hearing about this case. And the way that I worded it when people were saying that, I meant to say was that what you're doing is exploring the why and not justifying the what.
Yes.
So I think that that's a good way to look at it. So you're gonna hear a lot of certain, probably controversial views from you and Timony, right?
As always.
Right.
But
You may not like them, but I mean, so far I've seen how you handle your
you might
chat.
learn
You,
something. How
you
about
moderate your panel very, very well.
that?
It was a
Thanks.
pleasure to be on there yesterday. So,
Yeah, that was
um,
awesome.
yeah, I had a really good time, and I had a really, really. This is a great uh, particular live for me, and you really, really saved it there. So, thank you
Oh,
so much.
well, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll do this again soon.
Great. That sounds great.
All right,
All
guys.
right. Thanks,
Yeah,
Will.
subscribe to Antimone Layne and her and her insights on this. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Uh, I had a nice time with you guys. Thanks everybody for coming into the chat, and participating, and being respectful. It's yeah, I really, really appreciate that, guys. I had a really nice time. And I will try to do this again tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I can't guarantee anything, but it would be nice. I would like to get back on here tomorrow and talk a little more. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great brief rest of your weekend. And I'll try to help out with the Monday blues tomorrow if I can, guys. Love you guys a lot. Thanks.